The queens enter the workroom, with the winning team from last week coming in first and cheering.
It's a new day in the workroom, and I'm coming in after a win, my first of the season. The queens knew when I came in that I would be a major threat, but I think I've even surpassed expectations from myself. Top 2 the first week, and winning the second. And even better, I've had some pretty good interactions with the rest of the cast. I think I'm really making new friends in Meringue and Flower.
Once everyone enters, they congratulate Oswald, Mimi, Skull Kid, and Pikachu for their win in the last challenge. Josie says that she's especially proud of Pikachu for redeeming himself after his low placement in the first challenge, and Pikachu thanks her, smiling widely.
I was terrified that after that first week, the judges and the other queens would write me off. But getting that win was so satisfying. I'm strong, whether they like it or not, and thank you to Josie for putting that energy into the room.
Oswald thanks everyone for the congratulations, saying that it felt so amazing to get special recognition with Skull Kid from the Kagomane twins. Skull Kid laughs, looking at Josie, and says, "Which two are the weakest now, bitch?" Josie's jaw drops, and her and the rest of the queens start laughing.
I do fear that Skull Kid clocked my teeth. For me to rank those two the lowest from their premiere, and then they won the challenge. But I won't lie, I kinda stand by it. Look at me, giving you the true Filipina boom boom doll fantasy. Look at Mimi, the pageant goddess herself, who was also funny enough to win the challenge. Then look at Skull Kid, who is like a scarecrow that was repurposed for a haunted house. And Oswald, who looks like Mr. Rogers up in drags. I just don't live, and that's fine.
Flower laughs at Skull Kid's comment, before realizing that she's laughing, and quickly changing her expression. She speaks up, saying that while Oswald and Skull Kid were undeniably strong, she doesn't understand why they got a special comment from Kagomane Len when Mimi clearly carried their team to victory, and also had to pull the weight of making up for Oswald's god-awful runway. Oswald frowns, and he starts to speak up, but Skull Kid puts his arm in front of Oswald, cutting him off, before telling Flower to get back to them when she manages to make the judges laugh a single time, and saying that she won't make it to the end of this competition by resting on pretty. Flower says it's much easier to rest on pretty than to rest on ugly, which is probably why basically everyone here agrees that the two of them are being eliminated soon. Meringue opens her mouth to speak, but Flower silently glares at her, and she decides not to say anything.
I'm not impressed. I'll be impressed when he wears something other than off-the-rack separates and clumpy mascara. I'm not being a bitch for the sake of it. The fact is that you cannot last in this competition if you don't step your drag up, and he needs to be told that instead of being praised for the bare minimum. If he can't take it, he can go home. Maybe I'm harsh, but somebody has to be.
Flower looks around the room and asks if anyone disagrees with her about Oswald's mug needing to be improved. Aventurine, Ritska, Pikachu, and Josie shake their heads no. Kaito, Meringue, and Elise look down awkwardly.
I think Flower is doing too much. This is not her moment, and it wasn't necessary to tear Oswald down. Do his looks need work? Yes, which is why I kinda can't respond to what she said truthfully. But girl, there's a time and place. He looks like he's about to cry.
I'm very frustrated that other than Skull Kid, none of my sisters spoke up for me just now. Not that I'm too weak to defend myself, but I came into this competition hoping I could make some new relationships and family. It's becoming clear that that won't happen, and they all see me as less than. That's alright, I know my value, and I'm going to show it.
Breaking news. This just in, we've officially had our first elimination of Cartoon Drag Race Philippines Season 2. Danny Phantom has sashayed away, and we've reached the top 12. And according to our sources, this week we'll be having an improv challenge.
What's with news anchor Rin? Wait, are we on the news? Oh my god, I'm on TV. Oh wait, I'm already on TV.
In this week's improv challenge, you'll each be assigned a character either hosting a news segment or being the subject of a news segment. You'll read your lines from a teleprompter, but you'll have no idea what's on the teleprompter before you read it. Your challenge is to stay in character, and give us campy newsroom drama.
Oh, I live for this. I know this challenge is mine to take. I know how to commit to a character and get fully sunk into it, and I'm going to crack the judges up. This is the Pikachu comeback of the century.
And tonight on the runway, category is Lady in Red. I better not see any other colors on that runway, or you're all being passed up for the promotion. Now, good luck, and don't fuck it up.
The queens are each given papers to study their characters, and split up into groups with their scene partners.
Thankfully, I ended up in a scene with my Pinkberry sisters. We're the hosts of the program, with me being the main anchor of us three. I'm feeling confident that I'll place well with this setup.
Mimi glances her paper up and down once, before setting it to the side and turning to the other girls to chat, asking how they feel about the competition so far. Meringue blinks at her, and asks her why she isn't studying her character more. Mimi shrugs, and says she thinks she pretty much has it down. Flower raises an eyebrow, but just responds that she feels pretty confident so far in the challenges, including this one.
Mimi, girl, sister, mother, diva, icon, the love of my life, the wind beneath my wings, my future adoptive drag mother. Are you out of your damn mind? She looked at that entire page for about 2 seconds, and she's striking up small talk? I don't want to question her, we've all seen what she's capable of, but this is clearly a terrible idea.
Meringue looks down a bit, and says that she's confident in this particular challenge, but that she has actually really disappointed herself so far. Mimi frowns a bit, and lays a hand on Meringue's shoulder, saying that Meringue has done great up to now and has no reason to feel that way. Flower looks empathetic for a moment, before quickly looking the other direction.
If I'm honest, while I am a little frustrated with how I did week 1, that's not why I'm disappointed in myself. I've branded myself as the sweetheart queen, you can see it in my audition tape. But I've yet to speak up about some of the cruelness of the queens in the workroom. I could tell how disappointed Oswald looked in me that first week, and he's right. I haven't gotten over it, and I did the same thing again earlier.
Meringue thanks her, and says that she still plans to try her best from here on out. Mimi nods. Flower carries the conversation on, saying that Mimi definitely doesn't have to answer the question, because she must feel good with her track record so far, especially since she's confident enough to barely even read about her character. Mimi giggles, and says that yes, she is very happy with how her run has gone, but she's also thrilled to have made such close friends already. Flower notes that she's said that a lot, and asks why Mimi is so focused on specifically making friends when they're here to compete. Mimi says that she just wants to make more connections, since she doesn't have very many in the drag scene. Flower says she can relate to that, saying that with her being how she is, a lot of queens on her local scene have ostracized her. Especially after her disqualification from a local pageant after she got into a screaming match with another queen. She also adds that she's one of the only queens there that isn't a part of a drag family. Meringue asks why she acts how she does, and Flower just says she isn't sure, and that it's how she is, looking down a bit.
Back in Goiki, I'm not exactly popular. The girls recognize my drag as being some of the best there, but I'm not respected. It's whatever, I don't need those queens. But I don't have a drag family, I don't have any real friends back home, and I'm not exactly personable enough to make any. But at the end of the day, I know who I am, and I'm okay with it. I make it more than fine on my own.
Arsene, Elise, and Kaito are reading their characters together. As they're discussing the challenge, Arsene clocks Ritska with Aventurine on the other side of the room, and gets visibly annoyed. The other two look confused.
Ugh, I thought after Danny went home I'd be able to just focus, back to regular Arsene. But every time I look up from my paper, I see that stupid bitch in the corner. And each time I notice him in the room I get unreasonably angry, he just gets on my nerves passively. The vibes are absolutely rancid, and it's a massive distraction.
Arsene explains that he keeps getting distracted when he sees Ritska, because he's so angry after Untucked. Kaito says that he doesn't have anything to worry about regarding Ritska because that fight was clearly his siren song. Elise nods, saying that he doesn't have the talent that he needs to stay when he doesn't have the storyline with Arsene, so if Arsene ignores him he'll be packing up by the end of the week. Kaito and Arsene laugh, and he says she's probably right, and he just has to focus. Aventurine and Ritska are sitting at the same station, bantering back and forth and laughing, seemingly too distracted with their conversation to study their characters, neither of them going over the papers they were given.
I swear, this has got to be the most airheaded boy alive today. This is the second time in 3 weeks together that I've been able to blatantly distract him by just striking a conversation. I'm not sure if you noticed, but I'm studying my paper through the corner of my eye. It's been over half of our allotted time. I basically have my character down, and he hasn't touched his paper once. I've gotta say though, it's genuinely incredibly endearing how he talks to me. I could do it all day. And the good news is, I get 2, because I'm not planning on letting him get any character practice in.
Ritska is going on and on about various topics, when eventually he glances at the clock, and realization hits him that they're running out of time. He gets frantic, and apologizes to Aventurine, saying they both have to focus.
I'm sitting here wasting so much time talking with Aventurine, I don't even know my character's name. There's almost no time left, and I also have to get in drag before we start. God, what is wrong with me?
Aventurine opens his mouth, as if he was going to try to argue, but after a moment he says that Ritska is right and he didn't realize, and begins helping him practice his character. Ritska asks why he isn't working on his own character, and Aventurine says not to worry about it, smiling at him.
Okay, I think I've done enough to distract him. I want him out of the game, but let's think about this. I have Ritska wrapped around my finger. How much of a threat is he really, if I can pacify him this easily? I should keep him around, and on a tight leash, so he can be useful in future challenges, or pad the bottom when I struggle. But I just spent this entire time distracting him, so if I want him not in the bottom this week, I'm gonna have to really work with him to the best of my ability.
Oswald, Skull Kid, Josie, and Pikachu are sharing a station. As they work, Josie taps Pikachu on the shoulder to get his attention, and tells him that she's having a lot of trouble with this character, and asks if he can help her. Pikachu says to pitch what she's thinking of doing for it. Josie immediately stands up, and shouts for everyone's attention, causing the room to go silent. She then stumbles through a few sentences in an awful Russian accent that nobody can understand. For a minute nobody speaks, and then Skull Kid bursts out laughing, nearly falling from his chair.
Holy shit. Josie, girl, you better be packed. Because that was bad. Like, next level bad. I didn't understand a word she was saying, and that allegedly Russian accent was more like Minecraft enchantment table than any actual language. She wasn't funny in what we could actually understand either, and not a single fucking soul told her to make that character Russian. Oh my god, that's the best laugh I've had in a minute.
Josie smiles widely, and says Skull Kid can laugh all he wants, but at the end of the day the Filipina Boom Boom doll will put him to shame. Skull Kid barely chokes through laughs to say that after that performance, the only thing at the end of the day will be the night. Oswald covers his mouth to hide his laughter, and Pikachu is too stunned to speak. Josie just sits down and huffs.
Wow, the nerve of these sloppy bottoms. Okay, I have a lot of work to do, and not much time to do it. But Pikachu has agreed to help me. And if worst comes to worst, I will turn out that lip sync, trust and believe. The Boom Boom doll will knock a bitch out like it's nothing. Period, exclamation point, semicolon. No question mark, because there isn't any question about it.
I can't lie, it's a little vindicating that the bitch who called me the weakest just did. Well, I don't want to be mean of course, but come on. I feel like I should help her though. This is my strong suit, and it isn't hers. She's clearly talented in other ways, I don't want this to send her home.
Oswald starts to try coaching Josie on a better way to execute the character, but Skull Kid interrupts him, and loudly says that he's sure Pikachu can sort her out, dragging a stunned Oswald to the other side of the room.
Is this bitch crazy? This is a golden opportunity to kick the Filipina Boom Boom bitch to the curb. She's literally self-destructing right now, and with any luck she'll take her little rat dog with her. Me and Oswald only have each other right now, and it's looking like it'll stay that way for the foreseeable future. I can't let him give this chance up trying to win Miss Congeniality.
Oswald asks Skull Kid why he did that, saying that Josie clearly needed more help. Skull Kid fires back that Oswald needs to fix his mug before he fixes Josie's disturbing lack of comedic talent, and Oswald's jaw drops. Skull Kid then continues that, against his better judgment, he enjoys Oswald's company and wants to go to the finale with him, and that the best way to do that is letting the Boom Boom doll's outer saboteur send her packing. Oswald takes a moment to react to Skull Kid's read, before saying that he wants to play a clean game. Skull Kid responds that not helping Josie isn't actively harming her, it's just not helping the competition, and that they don't have much time left to get in drag, so Oswald can't afford to give any up. Oswald hesitates, but nods, and the two head to the mirrors to get into their challenge looks.
I feel a little bit dirty. But this is a competition, and there are comedy challenges every season. She should have prepared. If she's underbaked and thought she could coast on charisma, it's kinda her problem. Plus, she was just coming for us last week. I don't have to be the bigger person. In fact, I'm a pretty small person.
I managed to knock some sense into the space between Oswald's ears, thank God. I think he might actually be my first ever friend in drag. Strange that it's someone who I considered such a brick. But I've never really felt loyalty like this, and I think I have to make sure he's in check so that we can both go far. I don't have time this time around, but maybe these next few weeks, I can help with his makeup. We're making finale together, no matter what I have to do to accomplish that.
Hello my loves, and welcome to Cartoon Drag Race Philippines Season 2. I am one of your beloved hosts, Kagamane Len. Please welcome our beautiful judging panel, the other half of our sickening judging duo, it's Kagamane Rin. Our permanent judge, and my favorite drag queen, it's Candace Flynn. And the greatest reporter on Kohog Channel 5 News, Cartoon Drag Race Season 10 contestant Trisha Takanawa. How are you, darling?
Reporting live from the judging panel, it's Trisha Takanawa. Oh, sorry, it's a habit. To answer your question, other than the constant death threats from Mickey Mouse's suspicious, legal team, I'm doing lovely.
Death threats? Mickey, I know you're a backstabber, I know you're messy, and I know you can be shady at times behind the scenes. But putting a hit out on your seasoned sister is a new low. Even for you.
Prison, honey. Anyway, in tonight's Maxi Challenge, we tasked our queens to improvise in character as news anchors and subjects, reading off of a mystery teleprompter, and never breaking character. And tonight on the runway, category is Lady in Red.
Kagamine Len, you'll have to hide your crush on me a little better than that. If you hand me such perfect categories, the queens are gonna accuse you of favoritism. Red is my color, period. You girls ready for my presentation this week?
Now, without further ado, let's begin.
Mimi Tachikawa and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit slayed the challenge.
For the third time in a row, I was exceptional. I was absolutely perfect in my role, and don't you worry, the runway will seal the deal. That being said, it's not like there was a lot of competition. My sisters didn't bring their A games this week. I'm a little disappointed.
Pikachu, Kaito, and Aventurine were great in the challenge.
I was such a star in the performance tonight, a complete standout in all the best ways. But, I don't think my friends did very well. I'm hoping for the best, but things don't look bright.
Skull Kid and Flower were good in the challenge.
I didn't connect very well with my character, so I struggled a little bit. But compared to some of these girls, just give me the Oscar already. Oswald completely stormed this challenge. I'm glad I convinced him to fully prepare instead of helping Josie. He could secure his second win.
I'm not a comedy queen, so being in what I call the top half of the cast this week should say a thing or two about my lack of competition. I got laughs from Candace, Kagamane Len, and Kagamane Rin, but Trisha seemed less impressed since I broke character at one point. As much as I can't stand the bitch, one of the things Oswald said caught me off guard and made me laugh. You get one, rat, you get one.
Elise and Ritsuka Uenoyama were bad in the challenge. Arsene, Josie Rizal, and Meringue flopped the challenge.
I have nobody to blame this week except myself. Ritsuka left me alone, Danny isn't here. I mean, we knew I wasn't a comedy queen, but I thought I could pull through this time around. The silver lining? A lot of us struggled this week. I think I can dodge a second bottom placement with my runway.
Now, Philippines, I know I ate that challenge down. I was hilarious. My accent was on point. I completely stole the show like the true diva I am. But, Kagamane Len and Trisha did not seem to agree based on their facial expressions. What does a Filipina Boom Boom doll have to do to get a second win? Perhaps if they place me in the bottom, my lip sync will be so iconic that they count it as a challenge win? But let's hope we don't find out.
Meringue, sister, what are you doing? Get the fuck up. Damn girl, you can't keep underperforming in these challenges. I knew she was the weak link of our Pinkberry alliance, but if she goes home second, I'll still be gagged. I had higher expectations for her based on those looks.
Aventurine, Mimi Tachikawa, Flower, and Meringue slayed the runway.
I'm walking the runway in a stunning pastel pink prom dress, roses, a silver tiara, and a beautiful blonde wig, serving you prom queen realness. The judges seem confused, and I can hear you screaming, Aventurine. The category is Lady in Red. Well, shut up for a minute and you'll get it. Anyway, I press the small button hidden in my sleeve, breaking open the fake blood bags underneath, and covering the entire dress and my face in a sickening bright red. Girl, Dragula is calling, because I am giving you the complete Carrie fantasy tonight. Nobody is on my level.
Mama, you want a lady in red? I'll give you a true lady in red. This is the businesswoman fantasy. My red bottoms are precisely 6 inches tall. My lip is the brightest red you've ever seen. These shoulder pads could cut a bitch. The wig is styled to perfection. My body is unclockable, and I'm strutting like a woman with places to be. Well, get into it, bitches. This is what you can expect from the baddest bitch in Goiki.
Focusing in on a bold, deep red shade for this look was brand new to me, and I absolutely love how this came out. I'm in a stunning masquerade look. And as I move my mask away, I reveal my beautiful mug. I get to the end of the runway, and I pull off the entire bottom section of my dress, which stands perfectly upright on the runway as I walk around it in the skin-tight red catsuit beneath. Candace was literally screaming at the top of her lungs. If this doesn't save me from the lip sync tonight, nothing will.
Arsene, Josie Rizal, and Elise were great on the runway.
I'm in a sexy, bright red leather bodysuit, with straps and chains everywhere the eye can see, and a tightest choker on my neck. And girl, you know damn well I'm wielding a long-ass whip too, cracking it on that stage. This is an iconic homage to the S&M clubs in cities like New York back in the 90s. Clock it.
My look tonight was made by Vanessa herself. I'm in a bright red velvet ball gown, or well, what used to be a ball gown. I'm playing the role of the queen who was overthrown by her citizens. They tore my stunning gown to shreds, my crown was cracked in half. And I've painted my face in a disgusting, beaten, bloody mess, as I limp down the runway. I hope it shows the judges that I'm not afraid to get dirty with my drag. Wait a minute, I'm a princess. Oh my god, I hope this doesn't happen to me.
Ritsuka Uenoyama, Pikachu, and Kaito were good on the runway.
I really like the look I presented today. It's inspired by circus ringmasters. I'm in a bright red suit, dripping in feathers and rhinestones, and a tall-ass top hat. Think Cher's 1974 circus outfit meets the Nikolai fashion clown fantasy, with plenty of Kaito to make it all my own. The look may be a bit simple, but it's clean and well executed, and I'm thrilled with how it came out.
Skull Kid and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit were bad on the runway.
This is one of my first explorations into standard glamour fashion, as I usually stick to camp. I wanted to really look beautiful on this runway. I'm in a floor-length gown, though with my height, that's not much of an accomplishment, haha. I've got myself a beautiful white faux fur shrug, and I am feeling truly opulent and pretty on this runway. I hope the judges like it.
My queens, I have made some decisions. Pikachu, Skull Kid, Flower, and Elise. You're safe. You may leave the stage. The rest of you are the tops and bottoms of the week.
Elise? Safe? After that performance? This is the second time in a row she's bombed with no consequences. I don't care how great her runway was. Drag her down to the bottom where she should be if she's underperforming. It's not that I don't like her, but I'm starting to think she's getting passes from the judges.
Now, let's get into the critiques. Aventurine, please step forward.
Aventurine, on this runway tonight you were definitely my favorite. When you came out in that pink dress, I got startled. I thought you may have misunderstood the category. But when the blood bags burst, and soaked that dress, and splattered all over your face, I knew exactly what you were going for with the Carrie reference, and I was obsessed.
Definitely gonna parrot what Rin said this time around. I'm not a fashion queen by any means, but I know enough to know that you are a complete master of the runway. And in the challenge, you're not the kind of queen that people would expect to be funny, but both this week and last you surpassed those expectations. I want you to push those boundaries further. I'm excited to see where it takes you.
I will say, in tonight's challenge, while you were very strong, you got outshined by your scene partners a few times. You can't always be in the spotlight, of course, but even when you're not the one talking, we need commitment to the role.
Next up, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Please step forward.
You cracked me the fuck up in that challenge. I found you funnier than anyone else most of the time. And even when you weren't the only person killing it up there, you were still such a force. I want to be rooting for you, but you just lack polish. Take that as a challenge to do better from now on. I have faith, because with your comedy, you'll be unstoppable if the look is right.
I really appreciate that you went for a more glamorous, pretty look for this runway. Red definitely suits you, and I hope you continue experimenting with this. But I have to be objective as a judge, and this was definitely the weakest runway tonight in my opinion. I don't want that to take away from your performance, and I really do commend you for branching out. But the proportions are off, and since this isn't your typical makeup style, it's even more unpolished and somewhat cakey. It'll have to be taken into account.
Thank God the judges are reading him on that disgusting beat. I don't understand what they see in him, where even now, this is basically gentle parenting. This is a drag competition, and he looks like shit.
I'm not much of a look queen, so while yes, your look tonight was weak, it's not my focus. I was an absolute awe you in that challenge. The way you contort your face, the way your body moves, you're hilarious. You're like the Jim Carrey of drag. Your comedic timing is on point, and you rolled so well with the improvising.
Maybe this makes me a bitch, but I'm rolling my eyes so hard. Oswald is, in reality, a weak link right now. This isn't a school for girls. He's been in the game longer than I have and he looks like this. Potential means nothing if you can't find it after this many years.
Meringue, please step forward.
Meringue, you got off the hook last week because it was a challenge judged in teams. But I've been very disappointed with your performances up to now. The look is always right, your aesthetic is so unique. But it was like watching a statue out there. You stumbled so many times I lost count, and it was almost like you weren't playing a character.
I have to agree with Rin. You're clearly fierce on the runway, and you made these looks. It's very impressive, but girl, it isn't translating to these challenges. You can't coast. Look at Venti last season. Fantastic designer, and one of the best runway queens ever. But it didn't end there, he also brought it to every single challenge to the best of his ability. I want that from you, but I'm losing my patience.
Meringue, I felt like I wanted to check my phone for some tepid tea on Twitter instead of watching you up there. And, well, the look is amazing, but I can't help but clock something. The catsuit doesn't really match the look. They're both red, but there's no cohesion there. I almost have to assume that this catsuit wasn't the planned reveal, but you used it last minute, because you wanted something you could lip sync in after that disappointing performance. Just something to think about.
Oh, shit. I'm starting to understand why Trisha got that promotion. Mama, this is investigative journalism. I don't think any of us clocked that. It's kind of clever, but a little disappointing that she pre-prepared to lip sync for her life. Like, girl, have you already given up?
I, don't want to comment at this time. Okay, look, I'm not delusional. I know I'm lip syncing. Is it really a bad thing that I prepared for it?
Josie Rizal, please step forward.
Josie, dear God, what was that? I couldn't understand a word of what you were saying. Who told you to use that voice? It seemed like you were reading the lines correctly, but I can't even be sure, because I couldn't understand them. And you didn't do much funny outside of that, so when it fell flat, it was a big issue.
That might have been one of the cringiest performances in cartoon drag race history. I preferred you to a couple others, only because a clear attempt was being made. But it wasn't a good attempt by any means. On the runway tonight, though, I like this a lot. Your look tonight reads old money in a way I'm a big fan of. On the runway, I got the Asian excellence I'm used to and obsessed with. In the challenge, it was more so Asian in her performance.
Oh, girl, damn, that one would have made me cry. Asian in her performance is crazy. Kagamane lends coffee anime kicked in hard in these critiques.
Is it bad that I found you kinda hilarious? I mean, don't get me wrong, you didn't do well. But it almost reached the levels of camp. And despite doing poorly, you never let it show on your face that things weren't going well. It was like no matter what you were confident, even at your weak points. I want to commend that.
What kind of critique is that? Josie, you were terrible, but I was obsessed. You were dogshit, but you were delusional. You flopped the challenge, but good job. Candace, what the fuck are you talking about?
Mimi Tachikawa, please step forward.
Mimi, I'm begging you. Take your heel off of everyone's neck. I know it's only been 3 weeks, but if you keep up this pace, not a single bitch here stands a chance. It's almost unfair how someone can be so perfectly beautiful, have so much charisma, and still be so hilarious. I definitely relate to that.
Oh, shut up, you bitch. You aren't charismatic, let alone hilarious. But she's right though. Something about how you commanded the stage, you weren't too over the top, but you still cracked us up. A lot of pageant queens, they just aren't funny, or they don't have that much charisma. You are such a complete package, and yet it still feels like each week has elevated the last. I'm thoroughly impressed. And Mimi, this runway. For the 3rd time in a row, I have no notes.
Reporting live from Gag City, it's Trisha Takanawa. Mimi, that is exactly where you took me. This runway look, I actually gasped a little when I saw it. You walked a normal-ass runway in something that would be any other queen's step-down look. You've got to be kidding me. And the effortless dominance in the challenge. You're such a natural talent, Mimi.
It's so nice to hear such positive critiques every single week without fail. But I couldn't even fully focus on it, I was kinda barely listening. All I can think about is my sister Meringue, and how scared I am for her this week after those critiques. I don't want my first friend here to go home so early. Come on, Meringue, you can do this.
Ritsuka Uenoyama, please step forward.
I wasn't especially gagged by you this week. In the challenge you weren't good by any metric, but you weren't terrible. At least you knew your character decently well and you didn't really stumble. You weren't very funny, but you got a couple jokes. Your runway was perfectly acceptable. It was clothes, you were wearing them, they were red. 5 out of 10, which should feel terrible in a competition like this.
You faded into the background. Being fine just isn't enough. Cartoon Drag Race isn't a show where safe is celebrated. Ritsuka, your performance wasn't outright bad, but it also wasn't memorable. When I think back on the challenge, I'm not even sure I remember what you did. That's a problem.
I kept waiting for something to happen. It was like watching a movie that's all set up and no payoff. You had moments in the challenge where I thought, oh, here we go, Ritsuka's about to bring it, and then, nothing. Like, literally nothing. I was almost frustrated in a way. It seemed like you were completely unprepared.
Arsene, please step forward.
Arsene, you're one of the most seasoned queens here, and yet I have to be honest. This is the second week in a row where you've underwhelmed me. Your jokes didn't land, and you just seemed unsure of yourself. It's baffling because we all know what you're capable of, even in comedy challenges.
2 weeks of poor performance in a row? That's not the queen I know. If you want to stay in this competition, you need to show us why you're one of the greats, because right now, you're starting to fade. Last week, your performance could be blamed on your teammate. This week, this was all you.
Let's talk about this runway. Arsene, this is what I expect from you. That silhouette, the detailing, it's all fantastic. And I love the reference to the S&M scene. If the runway alone could save a queen, you'd be safe every week, because that's something you're consistent in. But it isn't all that matters, and that's what brings us back to playing it safe.
Kaito, please step forward.
Kaito, you're just so professional. Since walking through these doors you've done just about everything at a high level. Of course, it's still early on, we haven't seen you in all contexts. But you have such a strong skill set up to now that I can't help being impressed. You weren't my favorite of the week, but you were certainly one of them. And you were a complete expert at keeping up momentum in your scenes.
You didn't skip a beat, it was so entertaining. Even when you weren't the one cracking jokes, you kept your character up in the background, which is so important in a challenge like this. It wasn't perfect though. Your runway this week was nice, but it was a little simple. I'd like to see you switch it up next week, maybe try something more high fashion? It's not that this isn't good, but it's very regular.
See, I disagree with Kagame-len on this one. The look has a completely different silhouette to your past looks, and is nothing like anything else tonight. Yes, Circus and Ringmaster has been done before, but there's nothing new under the sun. You have your own take on it, and I appreciate that you can turn a look without leaning fully into either camp or runway model.
My queens, now that we've let you know our thoughts, it's time to get into your placements. Aventurine, you gave us true versatility this week, and on the runway, you drew blood. Great job this week, you're safe. You may leave the stage.
I can't even call this a redemption from my low placement, because I did fantastic last week as well, if we ignore judging in teams. I guess it's just a continuation of my excellence. I'll keep my fingers crossed for Ritsuka.
Kaito, in this week's challenge, you kept the ball rolling. Great job this week, you're safe. You may leave the stage.
This is my second time in the top, and that feels like a good omen. But I won't get complacent. I know the judges aren't gonna let me rest on this, so I'm gonna keep getting better. Plus, if I don't keep this up, the nepotism allegations will begin, haha.
Mimi Tachikawa, you completely blew us away yet again, and combined class with comedy. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, you had us all splitting our sides, and you experimented with something new on the runway. Mimi Tachikawa, congratulations my love, you are the winner of this week's challenge.
Oh my god, yay. My second win. I'm definitely proud of my showing so far, and there's more where that came from. I wish I could have shared this with Oswald. He might be a little muddy in the face, but he can turn out a comedy challenge, and he deserved it just as much as me.
Oswald, fantastic job this week, you're safe.
I'm satisfied with being in the top. It stung a bit to hear the critiques on my runway, but I know what I need to improve, and I'm ready to do that. I can take a hit or two, I'm a grown queen. Challenge accepted, Kagamane Elen.
That means that Arsen, Josie Rizal, Ritsuka Uenoyama and Meringue. You are the bottoms of the week. Ritsuka Uenoyama, in the challenge and on the runway, you faded into the background. But this week, you're lucky. You were the best of the worst. And therefore, you're safe. You may leave the stage.
If I have to be in the bottom, I was hoping I could at least have the pleasure of sending Ritsuka home. This is really interesting though, the only time there was a bottom 4 on season 1 was in a duos challenge. Why is there a second low placement?
With that being said, I am incredibly disappointed in you three. I expect more from my queens, and I think it's about damn time I established that in a way you can't forget. Which is why I've made a harsh decision. Meringue, Arsen, and Josie Rizal, none of the three of you are safe tonight. You will all lip sync for your life, and it's possible that 2 of you will be eliminated.
Excuse me? What? Kagamane Len, you can't just pull shit like that. Oh my god, 2 of my friends are in the bottom this week. Please, you two, turn it out.
Prior to tonight, I asked you to prepare a lip sync performance to Kitty Cat by Megan Thee Stallion.
The time has come for you to lip sync for your life. Good luck, and don't fuck it up.
Holy shit. I expected to be lip syncing tonight after my critiques, and I wasn't scared. I can stomp any one queen. But going against 2 queens at once, with a chance that only one of us survives? Well, who am I kidding? I am the lip sync assassin of the Philippines, the dancing diva of Metro Manila, the fearsome boom boom doll of the world. I won't be going home tonight. Get ready for a show.
Arsen and Josie Rizal slayed the lip sync. Meringue flopped the lip sync.
My queens, I have made my decision. Arsen and Josie Rizal, Shantae, you both stay. You may both leave the stage. Meringue, you are a beautiful queen, with so much skill. I can't wait to see you excel after this competition, and coat the world in sugar. Now, sashay, away.
Mimi runs up onto the stage, and crouches down to hug Meringue, crying slightly. After a moment, Mimi whispers something in her ear. Both of them smile, and Mimi leaves the stage.
It looks like my time is up. I'm happy that I at least got to spread a bit of sugar, even if Kagamane Len is still a bitter bitch. Goodbye, everyone.
This is Untucked.
The queens enter Untucked, with Josie prancing in first, doing spins and high kicks as she walks.
I'm feeling very much cunty. Cuntier, the cuntiest. Filipina excellence at the peak of opulence and pussiness. I definitely showed these queens who's boss. It's honestly a crime to put your future winner in the bottom this early, but I trust the vision. I'm sure they'll get to my crowning in the end.
The queens all toast to Meringue, with Mimi still being a little misty from watching her elimination. Flower looks both ways to make sure that nobody is watching, before putting a hand on Mimi's back. Ritsuka congratulates Josie on winning the lip sync, but says nothing to Arsen, causing him to glare at Ritsuka. Pikachu adds that as interesting as Meringue's drag is, it was her time to go. Flower rolls her eyes, and says that if not for having a second comedy challenge in a row, Oswald would have gone here. Oswald sighs, and doesn't respond, just sipping his drink. Flower continues, saying that Meringue brought a unique look to this competition, while Oswald didn't. Ritsuka argues that Oswald's look is certainly unique, just look at his mug. Flower laughs. Skull Kid, without even looking up, casually asks Ritsuka how he placed this week again. He then asks Flower how many challenge wins she has, following it up by asking if she's decided how many more weeks she's going to spend licking the floor of Mimi's shadow. Josie screams.
These bitches have so much nerve coming for Oswald, seeing as he's doing better than all of us except for Mimi at the moment. He's a frontrunner, what are they? A lonely unloved weed, with a maxed out American Express card and a flat ass. And a foolhardy cuck who has yet to place above safe. Oswald might have some fixing to do with his mug, but they have some fixing to do with their drag and their personalities, so it evens out. Fuck that noise.
Flower asks why Skull Kid is talking, and that if Oswald has an issue he should have the nerve to say so himself. Skull Kid starts to respond, but Oswald cuts him off, saying that he does have an issue and he's not going to be quiet about it anymore. He continues by saying that since the moment he walked in, everyone here save for a few queens has singled him out as the weak link, and yet for the past 3 challenges he has gotten nothing but glowing remarks. Arsene rolls his eyes, and says that a good storyline will do that for you. Oswald laughs, and asks why Arsene has lip-synced twice in a row if all it takes to do well is a storyline, adding that maybe it's because he's had less charisma in the challenges than the heel of Oswald's shoe. Josie runs to go hit the shade button on the other side of the room.
Oh, girl, Oswald has had enough. I can't even blame him, I would too. I almost feel bad, because I've also thought of him as one of the weak links. But he's undeniably been doing well, maybe I need to reevaluate.
Flower yells that Oswald has looked more busted every time he walked the runway, and that he shouldn't win the crown when his oily mug will tarnish the silver. Oswald responds that maybe if she was less of a cunt she'd have a family to deal with her bullshit. Flower falters for a second, and Mimi quickly stands up, saying that Oswald can't talk to her like that. Oswald asks why, since up to now Flower has said anything she wanted about him. Mimi responds that it's because Flower is her family, and she doesn't fuck around about her family, quickly grabbing Flower's arm and storming off together with her.
Mimi considers me her family?
Oswald grabs Skull Kid and storms away as well, lightly crying, mumbling about how he'll prove everybody wrong. Skull Kid can be heard quietly saying that it's okay, and he's proud of him. After a little bit, the other queens calm down from the heat of the argument, and cheers to making top 11.